Welcome to Soul Sync, a sacred space for women of color navigating the in-between. I'm Pamela J. Thomas, and I created this podcast to hold space for your next chapter. Let's take a breath and begin. Welcome to Soul Sync, where we pause long enough to hear the truth beneath the noise. I'm Pam Thomas. Today's episode invites us into a conversation about navigating life's transitions. I am so honored to be joined by Dr. Tawainna Houston. She's the founder of Black Cell Consulting, a naturopathic doctor, and a recent author, although she's probably been an author before, I don't actually know, but she's got a new book out called Black Wellness Barriers that we want to share with you today also. But before we dive in, let's take a breath together. Let's close our eyes, ground our feet. And if you don't want to close your eyes, you can always just lower the lids a little. And we'll take a nice deep breath in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Let something go and welcome something in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and we'll start the show. Thank you so much for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you. I had a chance to meet you within the last year, within the last few months. In fact, we finally connected, but I remember first seeing you in February, and I thought I really wanted to talk to this lady, this naturopath. So I'm so excited to have you here, Tawainna. Thank you so much for being here and joining the show. Tell us a little bit about you and how your journey how you've navigated the transitions in your journey. Let's say it that way.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Pam. I'm happy to be here on your show today. As far as navigating transitions, there has been many transitions throughout my life, my half a century of life, as you can probably imagine. I was actually recently reflecting on that because with the new release of Black Wellness Barriers, people often ask me, well, how long have you been writing this? And I would say initially my response has always been, well, I started researching and presenting on it about 12 years ago. But as I sat and reflected, I was like, I've really been writing this book my whole life. And I started out after graduate school of just being in human services because my background is in sociology and pastoral care and counseling. So I knew I wanted to serve the community. And it's like as life has unfolded, how that service has shown up has continued to transform.
Yes, that's life, isn't it? You're in an ongoing series of transformations and changes and transitions, all of those things.
Yeah, but I have always remained committed to the core, which is to help people live a better quality of life. And that was my original commitment as a child. And it has just continued to evolve from human services to entrepreneurship, to medical school and being a naturopathic doctor. And now transitioning a little bit more to making it more culturally informed, because I see all of the health disparities that are in the Black community. And so it takes me back to my roots as a human services provider and working with so many nonprofit organizations that were serving marginalized communities, whether it was the prison population, homeless, youth at risk. I am right. I can't say that I'm back at where I started, but I am reintroducing a different element to my work in human services, more so through public health and education on culturally informed wellness.
It's so interesting how um, I resemble your journey in many ways. My journey resembles your journey in many ways. It's so interesting how we get into we begin our careers, our work, whatever we call it, um, in a certain place, and you have a sense that you are serving in a particular way and how it transforms. You and I have had the common experience of I started in finance thinking I was going to help people, help educate people because I felt like people felt money was scary. And so I thought I was going to help change people's lives by helping them with their money situation. And in the interim, I made it to seminary. I see that you did the same thing. And yeah, there's all of these twists and turns on these journeys that we're on. Um, and, and I can say I'm past half century. I'm actually 61, but I can say at 60, I had the full circle moment where all of the things became clear. I don't know if that's been it was very clear why all these so-called detours happen.
Mhm.
Is that something that you've experienced too?
Yes, yes, which we presume them to be detours, but
That's right.
we are actually on the path that the divine
The
had
ordained
laid out
path.
for us. Yeah, yeah. It's like
Well,
we don't always see it and understand how the pieces fit. I tell you, Pam, many a nights a couple of decades ago, I would just sit and cry and like ask God because I didn't understand
yeah.
how all of this was coming together. But by the end of my medical school journey, and it was actually when I had the divine idea to, it wasn't called Black Wellness Barriers at that time. At that time, it was a research presentation on looking at the impact that racism has on cardiovascular disease among African Americans.
Yeah.
And when I came up with that topic, they say the two most important days in any person's life is the day you're born and the day you find out why. When that topic came to me, I knew why I was born. It feels
Yeah.
like everything in my life made sense in that moment, and
Yes.
it has definitely been a journey ever since.
Yeah, it is kind of an amazing thing when all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, this is why. And nobody's journey is a straight path or easy. Nobody promised us a rose garden.
And
Um,
then
and
nobody
the Earth School
yeah,
is a tough assignment.
right.
There's no question about it. But, it's astounding
Yeah.
when it all starts to fall into place and you're like, "This is why this struggle happened, and that's why that thing happened."
Mhm.
And look, the truth is, we are in a position right now where it is absolutely critical that these wellness barriers are made transparent because I think a lot of people don't really understand
Mhm.
the barriers to our wellness and how it has such an impact on our ability to bring the fullness of ourselves to the world. And if we ever needed for everybody to bring their gifts to this world,
It's
this
right now.
is the moment. Yeah. If you ever wanted to share your gifts with the world, we need you desperately.
Yes, yes.
And it is not really possible if you are not in a state of wellness. And wellness doesn't look like a particular thing, but it's what the way you are designed. If you are 100% situated in your body, mind, and spirit,
Mhm.
soul, all of these things.
Mhm.
Um, that's how you can leave your legacy, leave your gift. But it absolutely requires that we take care of our well-being, and that's part of that is the physical. We want to leave the body behind. I don't have to tell you. I know you see people every day that want to leave their want to pretend like the body doesn't matter and keep moving because the
Mhm.
world tells you. But talk to us a little bit about how you are helping people kind of shift their mindset about the body and how living a more embodied life can really make all of this more joyful and more meaningful.
Oh, absolutely. Well, for I've been practicing as a naturopathic physician over the past decade now. Naturopathic medicine is I look at the body holistically, mind, body, and spirit, as you just said, and I evaluate what is happening at the root cause that's contributing to the body being out of balance. And a big part of what I do with my patients is it's a lot of education that's involved. It's not just here, take these supplements and call me in a couple of weeks and everything, but it's a lot more in depth than that, because when you are uh, positioning yourself to fully understand what is happening to that patient on an individualized level, there are so many things that go into this finally becoming a health disturbance that brings them through the door, which is
That's
why looking at all aspects becomes important, and addressing all aspects of their whole health. Because without it, it's like, okay, you can physically feel better, but if your relationships are dysfunctional, if you're not feeling good within yourself, if you feel disconnected from God or creator or whatever you choose to call the higher beingness, when there's a disconnection there, it infiltrates the other aspects of who we are, how we feel
that's
about ourselves, how we're interacting in the world, our perspective, our fears, our doubts, our insecurities. And so I look at all of those things, including trauma, and we are working through those things together so that as they are getting their physical health together, they understand the necessary tools and resources that they can tap into to get those other aspects of themselves balanced as well. So I am truly able to bring all of my training and my experience with pastoral care and counseling into the clinical encounter, and more adequately addressing those additional needs to help to restore and optimize their health and well-being.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I told you this, and I'm just going to share my own story quickly. But a naturopath kind of saved me at the at the beginning of my midlife journey, because I people talk about hot flashes, but I had everything except for a hot flash happening. I had about somewhere between 7 and 10 symptoms,
Mhm.
and I went to see the doctor because but everything was subclinical.
Mhm.
Went to see the doctor, and I mean, she was working with what she had to work with within the confines of the system, but she never mentioned perimenopause. But she wanted me to go see like 6 or 7 different specialists. And I went to the sleep center and I was like, oh, no, 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 no. They wanted to me to sleep in this bed that, I don't know who's been sleeping there. And I mean, I'm not saying I just didn't want to do it. That didn't seem like the first option that I should be looking at. And then I just decided to contact my father was a physician, OBGYN, but he was also a founding member of the American Holistic Medical Association. So I knew there were other paths, and I went and found a naturopath. And look, I'm talking to her on the phone. I never even saw her. She's like, "Oh yeah, that's perimenopause." Like immediately, she knew all these symptoms in conjunction. And so I just took some basic steps, and this is, I'm sure, the stuff that you teach people. I literally changed my diet.
Yeah.
I kind of did it raw. Sorry, cold turkey. I went to raw foods, which I'm not going to say I recommend it, but it worked really fast. It got me a bunch of the symptoms went away. So there's so many things that we can choose on our journey to make changes, lifestyle changes. That's the hard part, though. People want a quick fix, and well, I mean, mine happened. Well, it happened quickly, but and I just know that there's so many things that we can make choices, and we're getting less and less access to good health care in many ways in the system.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the work you're doing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, you talked about balance earlier. And I think that we spend a lot of time talking about seeking balance. What does balance mean to you as a holistic naturopath and also by the way, a spiritual teacher?
Yeah. For me, balance is going to look like starting every day out with a time of stillness to pray, to do my spiritual readings, to meditate, some breath work, just so that before I start interacting with other people, I have already connected into where my strength comes from.
Yeah.
And where my peace and understanding, so having those daily spiritual practices, exercising, as well as getting out in nature. Sometimes, I can't always get to the park, but definitely when I can, at least once a week, just to ground, take my shoes off, walk, walk in, the grass and everything. I'm a tree hugger. And so that recalibrates me because
Yeah.
I am reconnecting myself with everything that God has created for us to enjoy and everything. And so those are some key elements that help to keep me in balance. And in addition to just the basic determinants of drinking my water, making sure that I'm eating fresh produce every day, and staying connected with other people, my friends, and just feeling connected,
Yeah.
and then and of course, like feeling like I've been productive during the day, and on the weekend having some me time, some enjoying some fun and entertainment, and knowing that life doesn't always have to be about work, because I do have strong workaholic tendencies.
Yeah. I think a lot of us do. I can say the same. It's hard. That's right. I know about that. Yeah, and I teach restorative wellness myself. I'm not a doctor, but I am a practitioner of multiple things. And yeah, well, we teach kind of what we have experienced a lot of the time. Let me just say it that way. My restorative wellness comes out of my own journey. My restorative wellness teachings come out of my own journey
Mhm.
where I've learned a lot. And I'm hoping I could share some things so other people don't have to learn some of the hard
Oh,
lessons
right.
that I'm.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Tell us some things that you would want people who are in transition to think about in terms of their wellness and transition. Look, the only thing we can depend on is change. So even if you don't want to learn how to deal with transition, you kind of need to know. You kind of need to learn. So talk to us about some of the things that you've used or that you recommend people use to kind of anchor themselves and all that during transitions.
Well, in my book, Black Wellness Barriers, I do highlight 12 key elements to wellness. And I would just share one of the biggest things, which is actually, they're all important.
Yeah.
But the bonus element is where I talk about disease prevention.
Yeah.
And I cannot say enough about the importance of that because as a doctor, most people that are coming through the door are coming through because they are disease driven. And we live in a culture, unfortunately, where people are, the priority is not health, wellness. The priority is not health, wellness. Serious about things to do for their health. It's normally when a disease has fallen upon their doorstep.
Yeah,
And that is when you have the least amount of control. That is when you have the least amount of power. It's
that's right.
when it's going to be the most expensive in terms of turning it around, expensive not just in your pocketbooks, but also in your time
That's right.
and all of the things that you have to now orchestrate because you have the disease.
That's right.
And my message to people is don't wait until it gets to that point. Work on it while you have the power, while you have the control. And my motto is do what is hard while it's easy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are, as human beings, we normally wait for I call it the cosmic two by four. To get you like the cosmic two by, oh, okay. That's what you were trying to tell me.
Right.
And the body, by the way, the body speaks to us.
Mhm.
This is one of the things that I really struggle to teach people, believe it or not. The body is in a constant conversation with us. And everything about the world tells us to ignore it and keep going. Everything about the world tells you not to pay attention. But the body can give you these clues very much early and all the way along the way.
Mhm.
It gives you the clues that something's not right,
Yeah.
something's not
But we
right.
have to be paying attention, Pam, and
I
so many of us are out here working, involved in so many things all day long, and we're not stopping long enough to listen to the body, or the body
That's
may
right.
say something and we override it. We override it with whatever our substance of choice is,
Yes.
other things that we're doing. There's just not enough time and energy in the day to for sometimes the basic means of survival. And so
That's right.
doing something to take care of our health is just another thing that we have to do that is seems like more of a chore. And so people come up with ways to override it so that they can keep going for survival's sake. And that ends up being detrimental in the end because now not only are you trying to survive, but you're trying to survive in the midst of having a disease, which you
That's right.
said adds to the burden of mere survival.
That's right. That's right. What are some of the myths that you've had to release personally along the way as you've been on your journey to well-being and sharing all of that with others?
Some of the myths that I've had to get through is just the myth of the outside matters.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
That is probably one of the biggest ones. All of life is happening in here, number one.
but yeah,
It starts
yeah,
with the mind. It
yes,
starts with how I am perceiving things, how I'm perceiving people and life experiences and so forth, and what the type of energy that I'm bringing into all of those spaces, and thinking that the external is somehow has control when the greatest control is the control that God has, and just learning to surrender that. So regardless of what the external situations and circumstances are saying or how they're presenting themselves, I have to stay tuned in and tapped
yeah,
into my true
yeah,
source, my true power.
That's
and everything. And so it's, that's been my lifetime journey of continuing to stay in a space that I am reminded of that because
yeah.
there's so many out even now, when we look at the political climate and everything that's happened in the country, it's easy to fall down this rabbit hole of all of these external factors that could potentially be destructive to my life. But for me, it's, well, what does God say? You,
That's right.
that the final word on this is the word that God has to say to this situation and everything.
That's
And
right.
so staying connected to that instead of falling prey to fear, doubt, and insecurity that could come from what we're seeing.
That's right. That's right. And that does not, I mean, okay, I call myself an optimistic realist. I don't, yeah, the one thing you know, uh, I understand the principles, but I think that there's a risk of people doing a spiritual bypass sometimes. And so I like to call myself an optimistic realist, which is I I'm not disconnected from there's certain things we're experiencing. And because you can have a conversation with other people about that, it's not there are things we experience collectively that are real things, and yet there's a higher capital T truth.
Yeah, bro.
And so I always like to put that part in there when I talk about, because I 100% agree with what you said, and I also like to add the other part because I guess when we can sit with what small I is and understand what capital I is, small I is the things of the world, the capital I is the spiritual overriding principle truth. When we with both of those things, that's when we're having the full human experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. It's and there's a dichotomy. There's inconsistencies and there's paradoxes that we have to, as human beings, kind of navigate.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's the journey.
yeah,
That's the one we're on.
yeah. And I was gonna say that's the unfoldment. It's a continual growth. If it's not oh, I believe this and
I believe it,
step
and I got his
forward.
God
I
told me, and
know
it's over. Just
I'm being
it's like
introduced to this every day,
that's right.
every week.
That's right. That's right. You got to be in conversation every day.
Right.
In fact, minute by minute, really, because just when you think you've conquered something, let you start to think you conquered something, and then you walk
Yeah.
into it dressed up in a different thing, and it's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
again. So, okay, Lord, wait, what is this? I'm back here again. What is this lesson I'm still learning?
Exactly, that part.
Yeah, well,
The what is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I wanna
What's
get it so I can move on.
Yes, I'd love to move on. Please help me move on, Lord. That's the truth, girl. That's the truth. Oh man, yeah, but those are, one of the things I love. I think a lot of people think ministry is like knowing everything, and now you got the book, and you got this, and you got your homiletics and all that stuff, and now you're a preacher. To me, ministry is about navigating your challenges and weaknesses and sharing that with others. I think we minister from our challenges, not our,
Mhm.
I believe that's where our true ministry is the things we faced as a challenge,
Yes.
as opposed to the things we so-called master. I don't even know what we master.
Right.
The only thing we can master is ourselves. If we do that, we're in pretty good shape. What is
I agree. I mean, it's really been, I have had challenges with obesity since I was a child.
Mhm.
And it was really out of that, like, as I got older, that's what put me on my own personal health and wellness journey. So I wasn't motivated by disease per se, but being overweight.
Yeah.
And learning how to navigate that in a healthy fashion. And so I was always going to workshops and different classes and all of this, and finding any kind of way whatsoever that I could lose the weight and keep it off for a
Yeah.
lifetime, which, we know the challenges that come with not just
There's very many so-called paths. Very few of them are effective long term. Let's just say that.
yeah,
I've been there too.
yeah,
Been there and done that. That's part of my journey too.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's yeah, I mean, and that's probably why I've done the things that I've done too.
Mhm.
Not just weight, but I haven't had any major chronic illnesses,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, you can tell when you don't feel like yourself.
Right.
And it's like, okay, what is this? And how do I shift?
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's go to the real talk moment. I just love this we could continue forever, but I'm trying to keep a time frame here. So
Okay.
I want to share this real talk moment with you because um, I love to ask people the question, what is a question that you're currently living into, like living and learning into?
I am living and learning into how to surrender.
Yes, that's a hard one. And yet it's so easy. The yoke is easy and the burden is light.
Uh-huh.
Girl, what's easy?
Yeah, that whole releasing control and just trusting. Trusting the process, trusting the journey, even when it's unknown to me. But just
Yes.
knowing that my steps are ordered and things are working out for my greater good, even if it doesn't always look that way or feel that way, because
Right.
I'm wanting so badly to control it. So that's what I'm leaning into, just letting go and surrendering to what is true for me and my good.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so funny because um well, I actually have been I'm in a sister circle and I've been half of the time that because we on Mondays we share our intentions for the week, and a good half of the time I'm like I am going to treat every circumstance as if the universe is doing unfolding things for my highest and best good. That's kind of what I it's like my ongoing kind of mantra because there's days that's hard to remember. I mean, you really have to get centered. And I meditate every day, and sometimes I have to go back and sit down again and revisit and remember again because there's days where it's hard to remember that. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that though. That surrender piece. Oh man. Yeah, I guess mastery of surrender is sainthood or something. I don't know. I don't know I don't know if we can do it on this planet, but I think we should be trying all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, Tawana, as we bring this to a close, and thank you so much. It's just been a great conversation. What is one thing that you would, or maybe a couple things that you would want to share with women, particularly women of color, who are between what was and what's next in their lives?
What was and what next? What I would want to say to women is nothing that you have been through is wasted.
Mm.
The y- who you are today is because of the experiences that you had, the good, the bad, the ugly,
Yeah.
and embrace them all, honor them all, because without them, you would not be who you are. You would not have the knowledge that you have. And that is not something to take lightly, especially as you traverse through different seasons and in your life, and you get to look back and say, hey, I'm not where I was. And, the cliche of, I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be.
Yes.
And that feels so good once you hit a certain age. that you got a long history to look back on and to
That's right.
be able to say that. So embrace what was and let it go and move into your future knowing that you're going with the newness of being a different person because you don't have to make those same mistakes and everything. You can make a new choice at any given time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Perfect. The perfect way to end. So before we go, how can people reach you?
The best way to reach me is Black Cell Consulting .com. You can sign up for my newsletters and courses will be up soon. And you can learn more about culturally informed wellness care by visiting that website.
Great. Thank you, Tawainna. Uh, Thanks for sharing your heart and your wisdom. Um, I just know that folks are going to really appreciate this perspective you bring to our well-being and our wholeness, and approaching things from that space of understanding we're whole, and seeking to support that part of ourselves.
Thank you so much for having me, Pam.
If you can hang on one more second, I'm just going to send a brief invitation to the listener, and we'll close the episode. Listeners, if today's episode spoke to you, I invite you to reflect on this question. What's one soul-aligned step I can take from here? And as always, subscribe, share this with someone standing at their own threshold, and join us again for the next Soul Synced moment. If this episode stirred something in your soul, if you felt seen, softened, or simply supported, I'd be so grateful if you'd take a moment to leave a review. Your words help other women, especially those at a sacred threshold, find this space. It only takes a minute, but your review becomes part of the ripple. Thank you for listening. Thank you for syncing with your soul. What if retirement wasn't a finish line, but a sacred beginning? Women Don't Retire is a call to reimagine your next chapter with purpose, power, and joy. I share real stories, deep truths, and practical wisdom for women ready to lead, even after leaving the title behind. Available now where books are sold. See the show notes for a link to get your copy today. Before we end this episode, let's take a moment. Breathe into where you are. Not where you're trying to go, not who you're trying to be, just here, in this body, in this breath, in this moment. In today's conversation, we explored holistic wellness not as a luxury, but as a path to reclaiming power, a way of living that honors the wholeness of who we are, mind, body, spirit, and story. We're reminded that true wellness isn't found in quick fixes or wellness trends. It's found in the daily practices of listening inward, choosing nourishment, and aligning with what makes us feel whole. It's in the permission to slow down, to feel, to choose differently, to say, I get to define what thriving looks like for me. So, here's your soul sync invitation. What does wellness feel like in your body today? Not what it's supposed to look like, but what it really feels like. What part of you is asking to be included in the conversation of your own care? Maybe it's your nervous system saying, please, less noise. Maybe it's your heart asking for connection. Maybe it's your spirit saying, I need beauty and joy. You do not have to earn rest. You don't need permission to prioritize yourself. You don't need to be fixed. You're not a project. You're a person, a sacred being worthy of care that is deep, honest, and aligned. So let today be a turning point, not towards doing more, but toward being more present to what actually nourishes you. Your wellness is a form of resistance, a form of remembrance, a form of power. Until next time, may you continue to live soul first. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. Until next time, stay soft, stay grounded, and stay in sync with your soul. Subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone at their own threshold.